morning, everyone. Happy Thursday and welcome to Viva Cafe con Leche. I am the badass Buddha, Lori Monaco. It is a cloudy, dreary Southern Connecticut day in the winter, but no snow. So I'm kind of happy about that for now. I'm looking forward to it, but I don't want it right this moment. And that works out fine. It's been unseasonably warm here. And now we have finally got down to the cooler, quote, more normal temperatures. So good morning, everyone. Good morning, Tiffany, Milagros, Iritza. Good morning, and welcome.
Welcome, buenos días, mi gente, aquí con la Margarita, your gladiator guru. Tiffany, Milagros, Iritza. It's always a beautiful thing when we log in and we see each other. It's like, yay! Some of us are like this, but most of us is like excitement, and then we come on, and the news are there, and I think that's like an invitation to this new day and an invitation to life. So thank you, gracias. And here it's already bright out. I don't know the temperature, but it's been warm, like nauseating warm in January. Yes, but here we are. So welcome.
No break for from Hell's Kitchen. Is that what you're saying?
No, from Hell's Waiting Room.
Hell's Waiting Room. Hell's Kitchen. I'm thinking of the show.
Happy Thursday, mi gente. It's always a blessing to wake up in gratitude and not be grateful for having a comfortable bed or a warm blanket just to say thank you for waking me up today. So cheers to everyone who rose to the occasion today to greet the new day.
Look at Gail. Happy Thursday, goddesses. All right, Gail. Happy Thursday to you, fellow goddess. And look at that. She's going to be in Florida. Gail, you have to let us know where you're going to be because Gladiator Guru's in Florida. So maybe y'all could connect. That would be fabulous.
It is. Iritza gave you a compliment.
I need your porch. Oh my God. Good morning, Lydia Villanueva in the house.
Hola, Lydia.
Don't forget to like, share, all that lovely stuff. We really appreciate it. We haven't even had a chance to this morning on our own. So we're going to get to that in a moment. She's going to be in Fort Myers, near Fort Myers. That's not near you, right?
No, not so near me. Like, what's near you in Florida? You travel 4 hours one way, 4 hours the other. You're still in fucking Florida.
That's the truth. That is true. Yeah, that is true. There's really nothing close unless you're in the middle of a state. Then, But anyway, but even still, you're right. It's still a long drive to get to everywhere. So, good morning, everyone. And it's about 4 hours away. There we go.
Ridiculousness. Hola, Lydia. Feliz Año Nuevo. Happy new beginnings to everybody. I'm not even saying Happy New Year to anyone. It's Happy New Beginnings. This is, how for Christmas, we got a blank journal. We have 365 days of opportunities. Fill them in accordingly.
When you put it in that perspective, when you say 365 days of possibilities and we're already on day 5, we have 360 left. It's funny when you say that, And I think that if we all really did know the end, like when our end was, and, like we're counting backwards in hours or days or whatever way you want to look at it, would we make different choices? Would we make better choices if we knew? Like if you knew, like, oh my God, I'm done. This is my last year on this planet. Something's going to happen to me or whatever. Would you do anything differently? What would you do? And I think for some people, we'd like to say, oh my God, the minute I know I'm going to do this. But I think too, we still get hung up on like, oh my gosh, I really don't know. Like, I don't know what I would do because we haven't made the time to really sit with ourselves and get to know ourselves. And it's, again, that's that part of that awareness piece, what we could talk about today, because today is, whose reflection do you see in that mirror? And it's a great picture because it's me and Gladiator Guru looking at each other. I'm looking at her, looking back. So this goes along with the conversation we started on Tuesday with regards to, when we're looking at somebody else and when we're observing somebody else and something that we don't like about them, are we observing ourselves within that person? And Gail was actually one of the people that mentioned about the reflection in the comments on Tuesday's show. And I thought that was the irony, was I was like, oh my God, that's so funny. That's what the title is for Thursday's show. So we're going to be talking again, the whole month is dedicated to awareness, but today we're really going to be talking about who you are. Okay. And when you're looking in that reflection, who do you really see there? What are you seeing? Who are you seeing? When you look at other people, are you seeing your reflection in that other person, but thinking it's the other person? So we need to go really deep today in that awareness of self.
Yes.
Good morning.
Every day as if it's my last. Iris said I'd go skydiving. Well, we are all here temporary. The only thing our mothers and our parents knew was our entry date into the world. We don't know our exit date. So go skydiving. That would be phenomenal, because you know what? Why not?
Yep.
I think we should all, if it's in our hands to do something and not worry about, but what am I going to do about this and that, and what if this one says this? If we just say, okay, I'm going to make sure that I have 3 months of mortgage and bills paid up, or pay them up in 3 months, but that the beginning of that first month, pay them off, and then take off and travel, backpack, do whatever, do what I do, and then come back home, and then you just pick up where you left off, but your bills have been paid. I mean, or do whatever you need to do, but let's not wait until that. What if we never get that? So let's just enjoy it. And the reflection in the mirror, that's powerful. We'll get into that after the mantra.
Yes.
So that is more powerful than you know.
So thank you, Kathy, for sharing on Instagram. And again, if you all would do that, we would so appreciate it. Let's really blast it out of there. I know we talk about that. We really don't care about the numbers, but still, it would still be really cool to see new people on. It'd be really cool to get new subscribers, new followers, because maybe we could add something to their lives, and look at Edith said the Camino's calling. Absolutely. So let's set our intention for today. We'll do our mantra and we'll get to chatting about what reflection do you see in the mirror? All right. So here we go. Setting the intention for Viva Cafe con Leche is the intention is to be intentional. So set your intention to be intentional today, whatever that may be. You decide, and you can set it now. You can set it after the show. You could change it throughout the day, but go about your day being intentional.
And grateful.
Yes.
And grateful.
Yep. Intentional and grateful. It shifts, it creates purpose. And the intention creates purpose, and the gratitude helps shift your energy to get away from that really crappy, awful headspace of anger and frustration and all that negative scarcity mindset, because it's not going to propel you. It's not going to get you moving. It's just going to keep you right where you are. And if you look at it from a spiritual perspective, that would be idyllic for the devil. That would be idyllic to keep you right where you are, because you are fantastic and you have purpose and you can contribute so much in the world. But if you don't do it, then you don't do it if you're not going anywhere. So good morning, Tata. And good morning, Josie. My friend Josie's on. Good morning, Josie.
Good morning. Good morning. Buenos dias.
All right. So we'll do the mantra and we'll get talking. So here we go. Say it loud, say it proud. Repeat after us. I am a disruptor.
I am a disruptor.
I am unapologetically courageous.
I am unapologetically courageous.
I am spiritually grounded.
I am spiritually grounded.
I am magically orgasmic.
Ole.
And I live my truth.
And I keep it real.
That's it. Good morning, Gwen. Good morning, Wanda. Good morning, Nancy Green. This is fabulous. All of you that just popped on, please share. Let's see if we can get a really good amount of people on this morning. But we are thrilled that you are all here. Truly, truly thrilled that you are all here. All right. So, conversation for today for the month of awareness. The month of awareness. Okay. And I will get my little, I moved it. So it's not so close to me, but I'm going to grab it in a second. But the month of awareness, and today's conversation is, whose reflection do you see in that mirror? So come on, Gladiator Guru. What do you want to say?
Okay, first I want to say, I want to ask a question to the tribe. The badass Buddha said something and it made me laugh, and then it made me think, and then it's like, Maron, right? She said she's like detoxing from coffee so that when she returns, she can have a different
relationship with it.
Because she wasn't getting any pep out of it. So I want to ask you all who are on a question, and then please answer yay, nay, or I don't know. But is your purpose for drinking coffee to get a pep, to get that little firecracker up your ass, let's wake up type of deal, right? Or is it a passion? Is it a comfort of every morning you know that no matter what type of day it is, no matter what happened with your partner, if you have one, this right here is your friend. It is your confidant first thing in the morning. Is coffee an arousal? Does it awaken all the fibers in your being when it first sip just sits on your palate and it's like, whoo? Let me know. I'm very curious.
It's all of that for me. It's just that it's sort of like, I look at it this way, like my relationship with coffee is just like a relationship that's occasionally you need a little bit of downtime, like a little space. That's so, and it's funny because this happens every so often. It's very cyclical, but it doesn't have a specific cycle to it. But for me, it is like every couple of months, I have to sort of just take off a couple of days, like a little weekend away from my lover. And
it's so funny. It's, and I'm always intrigued, all things coffee, right? Been having coffee since my baby bottle, but it always intrigues me because different people have different doses of coffee. You have espresso, you have regular coffee, you have flavored coffee, you have decaf coffee. So it's like, it's the things that make the world go round as far as coffee is concerned. And I don't think I've ever even thought that it was possible to take a break from coffee. So that always like, it's a good giggle for me to know that there are people who do need that. So I wonder if I try it. I think I'll probably have a headache the whole time, but it's a little challenge, badass, to see if I can go a whole day without coffee and not rip a throat out.
Doc Hardy's on.
That's a real challenge.
Good morning.
So yeah, so thank you for those who answer, because you know what, and Nancy, yeah, if I don't have coffee 20 minutes after I wake up in the morning, I do feel grumpy and I do start like a pressure headache, but it's addiction. I guess you can say it's an addiction, but it's a good addiction. I'm celibate. That's the only arousal I get the first thing in the morning. So I think I'm about to let it go right now. She said it's me.
But that's how I know it's not addictive for me, because it doesn't give me a headache. Like when I take those 2 days off, I have no headache from it. Like some people really do, where it's literally physically, addicted to them. And I don't know. And I agree. Like I love especially what like Gwen said. Gwen said the smell is arousing. And I look forward to it. And I think Tiffany said that as well. Tiffany said it's my comfort, time to reflect. Yeah. There's moments where coffee will be that way to me especially when I'm away. I love coffee when I'm away somewhere, and I get up early. If it's in a hotel room or if it's in a cabin, I don't care where. I'm the first one up. I make the coffee. It smells so good in the morning, and it's quiet time. Nobody's awake, and I just go sit. Like when I was in Tennessee and we rented that cabin, we had this huge porch that overlooked the mountains. I couldn't wait to get up in the morning and brew the coffee while the kids were sleeping, and I would sit out there with the dogs on the porch, and it was just absolutely fantastic.
Well, yes, coffee is it gives it is something that I look forward to drinking right before I go to sleep every night. And as soon as I wake up in the morning, I go to the bathroom, do whatever I have to do, come straight to the kitchen to do the coffee. I can be late anywhere, but I'm gonna have my coffee. But it's not. I've never had to like water it down or anything. But it is something. It is. If I'm deep in thought, like yesterday, I was very proud of myself. I had many projects to do, and I handled them one at a time. So it really took me all day. And I had, like maybe 4 cups of coffee yesterday to then have one last night around 11:30 at night. So I think when you say, I am this, and this is what I like, and this is what I do, that is so keeping your peace and your power, knowing who you are and what you can do. Because it starts off with coffee. Everybody who knows me knows coffee is, it's my number one lover.
Viva
And,
Cafe. Viva Cafe.
and so I think that we read, Petey says I got a headache, but it does not wire me. It doesn't, coffee does nothing for me other than be my confidant. It's my sounding board. It is something that I hold in my hand, and I smell it, and when I sip it, I'm just lost in thought, and I'm writing, and I'm figuring shit out. So yeah, that's like, that's my muse for the
And
most part.
the beauty of this is, and I love how you connected this to the conversation, because you know yourself. Like when we look in that mirror and we're looking back at are we looking back at ourselves, and then do we really see ourselves? You know yourself. Know thyself. I am. Who am I? I'm a person who is passionate about coffee, feels that it's this, like all those words that you described, sitting there and feeling like when I have that coffee, I sit and I write. Those are so specific about you, right? They're so specific about you. I know I saw what Edith wrote. I don't know if I agree. I think it depends on who you're with. Morning sex can be really nicely, and then my cup of coffee right after, or vice versa.
And Milagros is right. It's not what you drink. It's the attitude in which you start the day. It is so true, Milagros. Enhorabuena.
But it's specific to you. It's specific to you.
Well, yeah, but I'm not saying that the coffee is what awakens me. What I'm saying is it is my go-to. It is like with people who have tea. So to me, yeah, coffee. If you ever come stay in my house, you will starve because I'm not that type of hostess, but you will be having freshly brewed coffee with foamed milk, added, sprinkled with all my love and attention to it, and crackers. So don't expect anything else when you come stay at my house, right, Petey? Because she's always saying how I starve her. But that's my staple. That's my evocations to my happy childhood memories, and I hold on to them. It is the revolution of my awareness when I drink café con leche, and that's my story. So if anybody wants to learn that, come see about me. But it is that, and you know what? Everybody holds on to different things. All we're talking about in the first quarter of this year is to be aware of what it is that gets you up, dresses you up, and get your ass out the door to be the best you can possibly be. And I think I put in the coffee because Badass Buddha said, I haven't had coffee since yesterday. And I'm thinking, oh, Maron, you know, the flesh gets us into trouble all the time, right? But I can't give up like sex and coffee. So as she's talking, I'm like, oh, Maron Nemi, what would I do with that? I would stay in bed all day as though my lover left me.
Right, but that's you. So that's the thing. It is.
Yeah, that's what I'm talking about. Me.
Yeah.
When you said that, that's how I felt.
No. What I'm saying is that's why when you pulled this into today's conversation, that is prime example of knowing thyself, is that you know yourself so well that you're like, oh my God, that wouldn't work for me. And that's the beauty, is that the reason Gladiator Guru knows this wouldn't work for her is because she's probably experimented years ago with what works and what didn't, and then decided this is what works. This is what brings me joy. But it's about clarity. It's about clarity. Yes, Milagros, we know.
I love Milagros, and I love that she loves sex and can talk about all kinds of sex, talks about the vagina and everything. And I just love Milagros. And she is an enigma, because when you see her, when you speak with her, have regular conversation, you would never know that she is the Puerto Rican Dr. Ruth.
Yes, she is the Puerto Rican Dr. Ruth. I'm telling you. Oh my gosh. What is me too, but not crazy about in the morning, rather. Okay.
Oh, Jesus, yeah, I'll take it anytime. That's why the way people take a break from coffee, I had to become celibate for 3 years, because I guess I'm easily addicted to arousals. Anywho, so what
the way the topic runs is this. I found the paperwork. So this is what we're doing this year. Remember, we said that we're going to make some changes for Viva this year. Nothing major. It's just more of a focus, and we're going to see how it goes, because the goal for us is to just make you a better version of yourself, like get you to understand that piece, right? So what we're doing is we're breaking everything into quarters. So for the first quarter of this year, it is focused on knowing thyself. In other words, here's where I'm starting from. Who am I right now? So knowing thyself, okay, the good, the bad, and the ugly. So we start with January as the month of awareness. February is acknowledge and acceptance, and March is accountability. All right, that's what we're going to focus on. Then the second quarter is what's possible. In other words, who do I want to be? And that starts with April is understanding self and capabilities, or understanding in general and capabilities. May is beliefs. June is behaviors and habits. All right, and then we start with the last month, which is taking at the last quarter. I'm sorry, not the third quarter, which is taking action. And in July, it's called potential month. August is taking action month. September is gratitude month. And then we end the last quarter with review and commit and recommit. That's the last quarter. Review and commit and recommit, because you've committed. We're helping you commit this whole entire year. But the last quarter, we need to review it. We need to make sure that you are on your path. So for October, November, December, we're going to review everything that we did. We're going to make sure that you're steadfast on your commitment, because if you're falling short and you say, gosh, it's October and I haven't really done all the things that I said I was going to do with you ladies early in the year, that's okay, because you always have a chance to do it. And we're going to keep you like on point. We're going to keep you in check. And we're going to do the same for us. And you can go back and listen to the sessions, or the broadcast, and see if there's anything that you need to pick up on. And then our guests are going to be specific to those topics. Our first guest of the year is going to be Liza Tuck, which we all love Liza. And Liza's coming on January 17th on Thursday. She's going to be the first guest of the year, and she's going to be talking about awareness. So it is knowing thyself. What reflection do you see in that mirror?
Mm-hmm. It is, and that's so important. Let me tell you. And we'll come up with so many different scenarios of what we're looking at. We come up with so many excuses. You know, we try to be so passive aggressive with ourselves, and then we wonder why our boundaries are riddled with holes, right? We don't confront the reflection that we see and work to make it great. We were not born to be mediocre, yet that is the life we choose to live. And then when we're confronted with ourselves, we still try to hide behind the curtain. Then we get angry when people treat us accordingly. So the reflection you see in the mirror has to be something that is so, what's that word I want to use? Aware. You have to be aware of who you are. You know, and one of the things that I wrote about my dad, I said, and this is what brought, when the badass shared the title with me um, this morning, it was like, wow. It brought me back to an unfinished book I have about the gardener of my roots, which is my dad. But in it, I say how my dad can be nose to nose with the devil and not cower down, but he could not look at the reflection of himself in the mirror. He could not face that demon. Why? Because then he had to make changes. See, to battle somebody outside of you is to battle somebody outside of you. But to confront the you that you have been neglecting is a more tedious task that you just would rather continue ignoring and fighting everything and everyone outside of you because they're to blame for all your issues. So this we worked hard on what we're presenting on Viva Cafe con Leche the first quarter. We worked there. The passion that I heard in the badass's voice, and she was in the car and she was busy transporting and picking up and returning, but she didn't skip a beat because Viva is it's not Dr. Lori, Monaco, and La Margarita. Viva Cafe con Leche is everyone who takes the time out every Tuesday and Thursday morning to be present at 8 a.m. And then to have the desires and the excitement to share the show, to invite people on the show, because what you are doing is it's trickling down. We show up out of the time of our days. I mean, while my mother was slowly passing away, I was on the show. While Badass Buddha's dad recently was slowly passing away, she was on the show because we were committed, because we are the light bearers, right? We're that lighthouse that sits alone and forgotten by everybody until there's a storm. And we show up because it is a string, right? It is that lifeline that connects us here, because we're supposed to shine a light on Viva Cafe con Leche. And then those that come to it also then share the light by sharing the show, sharing the knowledge that they're receiving when we bring people on. So if you look at it, it's a path, because we're sharing things for growth. Yahweh says, when there's two or more praying in my name, and how many of us are here? We never leave God out of anything, because he shouldn't. He is in everything. So I'm thinking, we set this show up, and there was time and there was effort and there was a lot of thought as to how we're going to, even for ourselves, to learn and to be reminded, how are we going to talk about these subjects and these titles that are going to be rich in nutrients for the soul, and then to pass it on, to speak it out to those who choose to come on the live, and then those who choose to watch because they can't come on the live. And then all we say is, if you know someone that can use something, share it, because that is the kindness that you give out into the world, is being there for someone. You don't even have to know someone. You can just say, oh, I heard somebody's having something. Or when you just share it on your page, have you ever gotten something back like, oh my goodness, I just happened to come on Facebook after a couple of days and I seen and I needed to hear that. I needed to read that. That's the light in you that's shining out. Good morning, Liza Tuck. So, the reflection you see in the mirror, stop being so hard on yourself. How many, and raise your hand because you have a little hand you can put up here. If not, say yay or nay. How many of you have recently gotten a compliment? Oh my God, you're so beautiful. And you're like, oh no, I don't even, blah, 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 blah. Are you kidding me? I just ran out the house. And how many? I'll wait because the Badass Buddha is coming. But how many of you have been told that you are beautiful, and instead of just thank you without being conceited, because and if you be confident, oh my God, thank you, I thought the same thing this morning. That's gratitude to yourself. That's self-love. That's trusting that people are choosing to see the beauty in the world. Beautiful is not model beautiful. You don't have to have makeup on to be beautiful. You can have that messy bun on top of your head. You're beautiful because the light within you shines through your pores, outside of your skin. So this is what you need to know. Beauty is in the eye of the beholder. There's so many blind motherfuckers walking around. So look in the mirror. Look in the mirror. See yourself for who you are. Behind the scars, behind the blemishes, behind the pain in your eyes. Who are you? Because you know what? Scars, that's because you battled beautifully. You're wearing scars today and you can see a scar that's already healed on your skin because you were a warrior and you earned those stripes because you followed through on whatever it is you were going through at that time. And now you can look at that scar and you should be able to smile because you own it. It don't matter who did it to you. They're no longer in your life. You're standing tall and you're looking at it and you're like, yeah, I paid for this shit. It's mine. And that's what you need to do when you look in the mirror. Is accept, it's like, I want to wear glasses? I have perfect vision till 41. Then I have to wear glasses. Now I hate it. But you know what? Until I figure something out, it's going to happen. I recently cut my hair because the dead ends were thing. And you know what? When I shaved this back in 2021, it was to have it grow in the gray. And then I kept cutting it because I didn't like the regrowth, with the process of growing in, and then it's all over the place. And then this time now I'm letting it in. So sometimes it's sticking out like Grandpa Munster, but I'm loving it. Why? Because change is uncomfortable. When you decide to be who you truly are meant to be and walk in your truth, and you're looking at that mirror and you see maybe a little pimple here, our eyes are not the same size, just like our titties, right? But we still love them, right? So, and you look and I got to pluck my eyebrows. I got to do that. And then I look at this and I'm like, you know what? Change is inevitable. We all grow. We can't stop it. So I'm going to have to go through that ugly growth spurt of my hair and try and do many different things to it until it is at the place where I want. Sometimes I just let it be all unruly because, we all need to be unruly in our lives once in a while to remind ourselves who we are, so that when we go and look into that mirror, we're going to say, ooh, you were a bad girl these couple of days, but damn, it felt good. Because who are you truly? And unless you're in those uncomfortable situations, you're not going to really know what's your tenacity, what's your courage. In order to achieve greatness, ajusta tu corona, achievement, tenacity, and courage. And in order for you to get to those points, you have to be uncomfortable. Damn it. You have to run out of panties because you forgot to do the laundry 2 days ago and you wore all your panties already throughout the week to be able to say, oh, Maron, I got to get on my ball and take care of the little stuff so that I can conquer the big stuff. That is looking at your reflection and knowing, who the hell am I? What am I capable? And why do I have to wait until I'm faced with an issue to realize my strength? I'm going to learn that I am Samson. You know, that I am that David who killed Goliath. And sometimes I'm going to be the bully Goliath to myself, but only sometimes, because I need to check myself every now and again. But yeah, so now we'll read the comments because the badass is back and she's really the one that's good at that.
So, like Liza said, yes, I sometimes have I have a hard time accepting compliments. Edith says, but it was because I didn't love me, and correct, Margie. I had to make change when I did look at myself. Thank you, my sister. Aw. Arlene says, uncomfortable, but so necessary most of the time. I didn't have my phone with me while I was standing out there. So, and then Liza says, I needed to hear this. Josie raised her hand. And Gwen said, I used to do that. Now I accept the compliment. So yeah, so receiving, I'm assuming that's what you were talking about, is receiving.
When we become aware that, you know, so many people have the, that I've met, because I'm included in that, is that when we, you know, the 5 love languages,
Yep.
It's easy for us to be the gifter because of that. We don't know how to receive, because we've bullied ourselves so much. And not even that we believe people calling us, like in my case, fat or lazy or, you know, ugly, or you're getting old, whatever the case may be, right? For any of us. But we've done it more to ourselves, because anybody can say anything to you. It's who you believe yourself to be, how you honor the only you're going to ever have, that those remarks can really hinder us. But because we didn't have mentors growing up, I know I didn't. So we come to a point where some of that stuff bothers, especially the people we love the most, right? Like I've heard women say, I have to lose weight because my husband looked at me the other day. I said, what? You think I'm getting fat? And can you believe he said I was? So why ask a question you're not ready for the answer to? That's another subject. But well, Kathy, you know, towards the end of last year, she says, I looked at my stretch marks in the mirror and saw them glisten in the light. I was like, wow, look at this body. Those are battles. Those stretch marks are proof that you served as a portal to bring souls into this world. You know, that stretch marks from being pregnant, I think, are the most beautiful proof you'll ever need. You don't even need a kid around you. Oh, you want to see, ask if I had kids and pull your pants down. There you go. You know, it's like, yes, they are beautiful. So,
oh, that's funny.
You know, so go ahead, badass.
I think what I've noticed for me is this has been a really big shift in the last, like, especially the month of December with everything that was going on around me. And I think it started in November. But when we're talking about reflections in the mirror, who are we really looking at? And very often we don't really see what's in that mirror. So we're standing there and looking in that mirror. And really today, what you want to do sometime today is get a full length mirror and just look at yourself. Like really just study yourself, study your face, study your body, turn it to the side, turn to the other side, see if you can do something from the back at another mirror. But it's not just about the physical appearance, because the physical does represent your life. Your physical appearance is also a representation of who you are, and who you aren't too sometimes, you know, especially if you have been dealing with being overweight and not happy with that. It is emotional crap just packed onto yourself, and it's stuff that not willing to deal with. And it's not always that deep. Sometimes it's just like, damn it, I just like to eat these foods, and that's that, you know. But sometimes it can be that piece of it. But the interesting thing was I also discovered that rather than look in the mirror and reflect on myself, I was too busy looking at other people and distracting myself with what was wrong with them and what I didn't like about them. Because that's the interesting thing when you're getting ready to shift and you're ready to get to that a point where you're going to really make changes, or you're becoming aware that changes have to be made, you do everything in your power to avoid looking in that mirror, and you're going to look at everybody else and point out, like we said on Tuesday, is point. Well, I don't like this about this person. I don't like this about this person. And what it really is you are one finger there, three fingers back. You're really deflecting and saying, it's this I don't like about them. This is so obvious. Why doesn't anybody see that? But then you have to look and say, is that the very thing that I do not like about myself? Is that the very, so think about that. If there's somebody that annoys you, if there's somebody that pisses you off, if there's somebody that you get frustrated with, stop for a moment and then say, what is it that annoys, frustrates, or angers me about this person? And then, am I seeing it in myself? Is that also me? Am I actually looking at my reflection that I don't like, and I'm looking at it from now, sometimes people do piss you off. Sometimes people are just assholes, and that's fine. But
if it's a constant, then what is it? It's your own insecurities. You are intimidated by people because you don't know who the hell you are, and you are so insecure that it's turning into jealousy and envy. And that's also a root of the problem when people look in the mirror, when people are too busy blaming people, places, and things. You got to pull that ugliness out from the root. You got to know who you are in order to know how to tend to your garden. Sorry, I just wanted to say that because a lot of people.
But in the end, you're right. I mean, if it is insecurities, which most likely it is, that it's still, you're looking at somebody else. What I was saying was that, sometimes people do rub us the wrong way. People do trigger us, and it's not necessarily with us looking at something that we're unhappy about ourselves. Sometimes they really truly are just assholes.
Yes, they are.
And so that's how you have to use that discernment. You have to look at that and say, am I feeling this way towards this person or situation, even because of my own insecurities, of what I don't want to face about myself, what I don't want to see that's reflecting back at me? Or is it just really who they are? Like that I don't like that person because of their actions or whatever. So you have to sit with that, and it takes time. And that's the whole point of the awareness of it, is to be aware of, is it them or is it me? And if it's me, I'm the only one that I can fix. I can't sit there and blame them and say this or that, because it's really me. It's about me, And
but who gets there? Can you help us understand how to get to that question? Is it me though? Because a lot of people don't go there. They're so ignorant to their own needs that all they can build on is that feeling intimidated or that jealousy or something. How does someone get to the point to look in the mirror and says, "Oh shit, it was me"? Like, that takes courage. That takes strength.
It takes
pulling yourself up by your bootstraps. And half of us don't own boots.
But you have to be ready for it. That's just it. It does take courage to do that, but it also takes a person who's really ready to receive that information, because people who aren't ready to receive the information will just keep looking at the other person. Even if somebody turned around and said, do you realize that everything that you're saying you don't like about that person is exactly who you are? You're that person. If they can't hear that, they won't listen to you. And it takes, I don't know. I don't know. I wish I could figure out what takes the person to that next level. All I know is the people that I've worked with got to that level. They just got to that level, and they might not have known everything. They just knew something was off. And they said, I can't live this way anymore. I'm not happy with my life. There's too many things that I just are not right in my life. I don't know what they are. And then when a person is open to that piece of it, then you can ask the questions like, who are you? Let's think about this. Think about let's start with this way. Think about your best characteristics and traits. Think about the best things. Think about the values that mean the most to you, that are really important, but not even values so much. Let's just focus on characteristics and traits. Think about the things about you that you absolutely love. Then take go a little deeper, a little bit more uncomfortable. Think about the things that you don't really like about yourself. Then go deeper than that and think about the stuff that you really hate about yourself, like the stuff that you don't like anybody knowing, the stuff that you do your best to keep from anybody, knowing anything about you. You use whatever it takes to keep people from seeing that real side of you. And you have to come to terms with that. That's about knowing thyself. It's being truthful. Nobody else has to see it. Even when you work with a coach, you don't have to admit the lowest until you're ready to release it. Because a lot of times when you're ready to release it, then you will admit it. You'll say, "Oh God, I hate this. This sucks, but this is who I am."
Now, I believe
Ready to go. Go ahead.
when you start this journey, stick to it. Don't continue to fall off the wagon and then blame because this happened and that. I have met so many people who do that. Oh, it's because of this and it's because of that. Now, those who know me know that I have like very low tolerance for fucking idiots. Don't keep repeating stuff. Don't keep talking to me in riddles, not thinking that I know. I'm a wordsmith. I don't like people who say half-assed stories, because then that's their excuse to back out of themselves. And I am not playing a tug of war with you in your spirit because I have many crosses that I have to deal with, that I'm bearing with. We all have a history. So when you decide to look in the reflection in your mirror, Giovanni de Gregorio, ciao, amici, all the way from Italy. Woo. So when you do, you have to be true to who you are. You have to say, who am I? The good, the bad, the ugly, because we all have it.
Yes.
We all have it.
Yep.
There's stuff that we have done in our youth that we can think of today and be like, oh my God, I can't believe I did that. You did it. It's done. It's in the past. If it still holds shame to you, then don't tell nobody. You have a right to hold your secrets.
That's correct.
It is your life. If you have secrets you don't care to share with nobody, then don't. That is your past. That is your life.
That's absolutely.
A lot of people think they got to share everything, and then they're giving their power to other people, and then they feel defeated, and they only lost a battle because they gave up on themselves. If you care to share with somebody and they try to throw that shit back at them, cut them off. That's your business. They're not going to use your past against you. Don't allow it. That's how you build up that self-esteem. That's how you start the cultivation of your garden of self-trust, of self-love, of self-belief. Everything that you will ever need in your life, you already own it. You just got to put the freaking batteries in and activate the you that you were born to be. That reflection in your mirror should not frighten you. It should remind you where you got to start the work at.
Ooh, that's nice.
Okay?
That's what it should remind you.
I told her I wasn't going to do it, but in my journal that I'm so in love with. Now, those who know me know that I am passionately in love with my book, Soul Searching for Peace. But in this journal, in the beginning, it has, who am I? And in the end, after you do the work, it is a 95-page journal. It has, I am. And you see how I did it, where it looks a little bit like a groggy day. And then here, after it says, who am I? After you learned a little bit about yourself, allow me to introduce myself. I am a magically orgasmic, coffee drinking, dancing under the moon, lover of travel, lover of truth, Margarita de Margarita. Because you know what? If you don't love the you that you see in that cracked mirror, the mirror isn't even cracked, but that's how you're looking at it. You could never truly heal that reflection. You have to love the good, the bad, and the ugly. If you don't know how, think back to that man that didn't deserve your hello, but you gave years of your life to trying to fix him, to build him, to get him to realize how awesome he was. How you put all that energy into helping and fixing and trying to love someone else. Take that power back and learn to love yourself. That is your challenge. That
You know,
should be your challenge.
here's the beauty too about that reflection and coming to terms with who you are. If you're not happy with who you are, guess who gets to change it? If you've built yourself over the last 2, 3, 4, 5 years and become this person, and then you realize at that point, well, I'm not on the path that I want anymore. Guess what? You get to change it. That's what awareness is. Awareness allows you to constantly shift and flow. Nobody said you have to say, oh, well, you said you were going to do this, and you did. Well, I changed my mind. Like, I'm not that person anymore. People love to point that out. People love to make sure that that they know that you didn't do what you were supposed to do, or you didn't follow through. It's taken you longer than you think, or than you said it would. They love to. So that's one little piece too that I wrote down in the notes that I wanted us to share was about vulnerability. But we only have a few minutes left, but that's being vulnerable. Being vulnerable is saying, I don't really care what you have to say. Like, I'm going to get to this. And no, yeah, I changed my mind. You always change your mind. You always start projects, but you never finish it. Now, if that bothers you, then maybe they're not far off. Sometimes people could be assholes, but they could still have information that you might need to hear. Okay. So you look at that and say, well, maybe they're right. But you don't have to acknowledge them. You don't have to say, hey, I appreciate that, because it depends on the person. When you acknowledge, sometimes when you step into that vulnerability piece and you acknowledge that vulnerability, the only one that you have to acknowledge it to is yourself. If you decide to acknowledge that vulnerability to somebody else, just be prepared that you may not get the response that you want. It might not be as supportive. It might be one that knocks you down further. And if you're not prepared for that, again, know thyself, then you need to say, oh, okay, I got you. And that just happened to me recently. I stepped into my vulnerability. I took responsibility for a choice that I had made. And knowing that it can go either way with the person that I went up to. And in turn, this person took that as an open invitation to go off on me in a very, not in a loud way, but in a very passive aggressive, manipulative way about all the things that I do wrong and that I need to do and I should. And I sat there. At first, it was triggering me, and then I sat back and I just listened. And then I walked away from that and said, oh my God, all the things that I believed about this person were absolutely 100% true. But I felt the need to go and be vulnerable and express my poor behavior on a specific situation. And what I learned from that, again, it's knowing thyself. If I was a different person, I would have shrunk down terribly by what this person said. Did it bother me after I had that conversation with them? It totally did. I couldn't sleep that night very well. I got more and more angry about it. But what I got angry about was the fact that I was so hell bent on coming, and taking responsibility for that piece. Sometimes you don't need to. Sometimes you don't need to go back and say to somebody, oh, I did this or I did that. You sometimes don't need to do that, especially when you know that this individual is not going to take it, because no matter what, they're gonna create their own spin on it. Being vulnerable is a huge part of getting to know yourself, but you don't have to be vulnerable out in public. If you feel like you can do that and be strong and gain strength in it, then fine. But you don't have to. Like, being vulnerable, you share only that vulnerability with those that you feel will still have your back and be like, we knew that about you. I'm glad you finally figured it out. Thank you. Let's move on now. That's the difference, is when you have those people in your life too, that when you look in that mirror and then you walk away and you say to your friends and whoever that's closest to you, and you go, oh my God, I just realized this about myself. And they're like, yeah, okay, we've known that. So what are you going to do about it? That's that sentence. What are you going to do about it? Even if you're talking to yourself in that mirror, oh my God, this is what I'm looking in that mirror, and this is what I notice about myself, or I'm sitting down writing these things about myself, and I don't like that about myself. What are you going to do about it? What are you going to do about it? Are you going to just let it sit there and say, oh, I don't like when people push me around. I don't like when I stay small. I don't like when people bully me. What are you going to do about it? And if you don't know what to do, then get help. Like, seek help. It could be from a coach. It could be from a therapist. It could be from a friend, but get guidance to help you get on that path.
If you can't inquire within and pull from your own inner strength, which we all have, then yeah, please seek somebody that you can feel comfortable enough getting advice. When somebody says you start all these projects and you don't finish, I always say, thank you for noticing. You must really be watching me better than I watch myself. Because I do start a lot of shit that I don't finish. But some of the things I've said to the people in my past when they've accused me of that is at least I started something to know that it's not for me. What have you done?
That's exact. And there you go. Hold on a second. Hold that thought. That's the reflection. Because as we do that to other people do that to us. So if somebody's saying that, they are doing exactly what Gladiator Guru said. It's nice to see that you're paying more attention to my stuff than I am. And what are you distracting yourself from your own life by paying attention to what I am not doing?
Mm-hmm.
Because that's really what it comes down to. It comes down to when somebody calls you out on your shit because they want to shame you, especially shaming. That is because they cannot face their own reality.
Mm-hmm.
That's
Yeah,
really
they do that because they're lacking something. And remember, hurt people or
yes.
try to hurt people.
Yes.
Now, if there's that word vulnerability, it's very tricky because people are like, well, I'm vulnerable leads to sensitivity, leads to always constantly being offended. Being vulnerable with yourself and accepting the things that you cannot change and those that you can is a whole different story.
Yes.
Now, people who like to stay in that vulnerable victimization. So remember to pick a side, that thin line between love and hate. That's how it is too with that vulnerability. There's the side of victimization and that vulnerability to allow yourself that break to go back into the battle and become a victor of your own circumstances. So choose wisely because we have enough sensitive people already. Yeah, it's like ridiculous, nauseating actually to me. The ay bendito stuff is just too, it's overdone. I cannot help you to help yourself when you're too busy feeling sorry for yourself, expecting
Yes.
everyone around you to pick up your pieces. No, boo-boo. That's your puzzle. You figure it out. I'll chit-chat with you to distract you, to make it a little more bearable, to put your pieces back together. And if you ask me for some insight, I would be more than happy to assist you, but I can't fix you.
That's right.
And that's what being aware of who you are, what you're doing, what journey you're going to want to travel on that's going to lead to abundance at the end of when you reach your destination and then you begin your journey again, because life is just a long path with all these twists and turns, winding, beautiful scenery, darkness. It's going to come with all of that. The question is, are you ready? Are you ready for the journey of you? Are you going to look in that mirror and look back at your reflection and say, ooh, we've been through some tough battles. It was showing for weird, but I got you. You're beautiful. Let's do this. Because all this, this outside beauty, all this makeup, people spend all this money, they're here and all that. All this, it will fade. It's what you have in here. That grandma that we all had, that's all wrinkly now, maybe no teeth. But we look at her and she's the most beautiful thing we've ever seen. Because we look at her with the eyes of love from our hearts.
Mm-hmm.
Look at yourselves in the same way. And don't let anybody tell you different. Because when you walk in your truth, you gain the abundance of life. You live in gratitude. Okay, you set intentions that are realistic for yourself, that turn into goals, that turn into reality. Because you're living in kindness and gratitude towards yourself. Boom. Go ahead, badass.
And you said such a powerful question. Are you ready? That's what you need to ask yourself. And you need to be truthful about this, because if you ask yourself the question, are you ready? Are you ready to become the person you were meant to be? Are you ready to make big changes in your life? And if you can honestly answer yourself and say, no, I'm not. First off, good for you, because you're honest. You don't have to
Yes,
lie about this.
absolutely.
If you say, I'm not ready, okay, that's okay. You're honest about it. No, I'm not. I'm not ready to do it.
Because when somebody says, I'm not ready, where are they standing? On the start line. They're just not ready.
Right.
But they're there.
That's
Because
correct.
you cannot say you're not ready and still be in the boondocks. You had to have showed up to realize you're not ready at that moment.
Yep.
So give yourself credit.
Because when you say I'm not ready yet, then the next question is, okay, what do you need to do to be ready? What will it take for you to be ready? You know, without making excuses, what do you need to happen in your life to be ready? What can you do? Actually, that's a better way to say it. What can you do to help yourself get ready? What can
Yes.
you do? Okay. And then when you are ready, what are you going to do about it? If you say, yes, I'm ready. Okay. What are you going to do? Because that's the difference between those two questions. Are you ready? Actually, that's beautiful, Gladiator. It's the pivotal question. Are you ready? No. Okay. What will it take to get you ready? What do you need to do to get you ready, to get you to build up at that starting line and get you to the next level? Blah, blah, blah. That's what you have to sit with yourself. And if you already say, are you ready? And you say, yes, I'm ready. What are you going to do about it? And the
What's your next step?
is to have clarity in of yourself, is to know what it is that you want to do. You know, what are you going to, I'm ready. Ready for what? What are you ready for? That's the other question. Are you ready to just live the life that you're living? And if it's the life that you want to live, then great. We're always hell bent sometimes on always moving forward, always gold. But I'll tell you what, if you built your empire and you're loving your destination, you know, then there's always growth within there. But nobody says you got to leave it. You know, if, like, I have a whole dream of what I want. I have a whole vision of what I want. When I get there, I'm not going to say, oh, I got here. Where am I going now? I could say, what else can I do? But I love this place. This is what I had asked for. And if it doesn't work for me anymore, if in 1 year, 2 years, 5 years, it's no longer what brings me joy, then it's time to move on. But if something is bringing you joy, then
Enjoy it.
great. Enjoy it, right? But if there's other things that are not bringing you joy, then those are the things that need to change. Those are the things that need to shift.
Yes. Yes. Because when the question is, are you ready? Are you ready to live the life that you designed? You know, that's also something very important about us, because so many people are following the masses. They're doing what everybody else is doing. Stop, think for yourself, create your reality. See what I'm saying? Because we are living in the matrix. Create your reality and then go for it. Now, the badass Buddha says she has her vision of what she is aspiring to acquire by a certain date in her life. Okay. She made a lot of steps last year and nothing took her back, but life makes you pause. When you know who you are, you can take that pause with no resentment.
Yes.
Because you know it was an assignment, and now when it's done and it's time, you pick up where you left off. But you're picking up where you left off stronger, more confident, and more driven. So one thing I want to end with, because we did go over, is on my webpage, I'm writing something because I'm social media is just so on my webpage. I wrote something regarding the journal and the notebook. See, they're the same size because I like big things. The notebook. And one of the things about my journal, which is understand her, is understanding the little girl that grew into the silent woman because we ignored her in waking her up and becoming one. And at the end of what I wrote is something so beautiful, and I'm going to share with you because sometimes I shock the shit out of myself. but it's yesterday, today, and tomorrow. And one thing, when I wrote it, I was like, how true is this? Your past is your past. Today is your present. Tomorrow is your future. So you are the historian of your past.
Mm.
You are the professor of your today. And you are the event planner of your tomorrow. What are you waiting for? Let's get started on the life that you want, the life that you dreamed of, or the life that the light inside in you is guiding you towards. Don't fear change. Don't fear upsetting people. Your journey is yours. Either you walk it, bike it, ride it. Just start it. And then when stuff starts to fall and you feel like you're failing, go back to the tree. The leaves fall every autumn and grows back on its own with no assistance in every spring. Sometimes we need to shed some shit to make room for what is needed at that point in our lives. So never think of yourself as a failure. Never think of yourself as a quitter. Never think of yourself as not being enough. You are the whole fucking package. Unwrap yourself step by step. Look in that mirror, love that reflection, and start a revolution of awareness towards the you that no one can replace. And with that, oh, you wrote it. Yes, you are the historian
Yeah,
of
but
your
I
past,
spelled it wrong. Hold on a second. I'm trying to fix it. So
the
keep going.
professor of your today, and the event planner of your tomorrow. It's yesterday, today, tomorrow. Let me tell you something. Don't let no one repeat your past to you. You know, historians are like iconic figures since the beginning of time. The scribes, the chosen ones, the 40 chosen men that were chosen in a span of how many thousands of years to write the Bible. You are that historian of your life. No one can reenact your life the way you can. So why do you put your past in someone else's hands to repeat it as they see accordingly? You be the historian of your past. That's how you heal. That's how you remove things that are no longer needed. That's how you forgive. And you profess what your today is with your intentions, with your empowerment. And then plan your tomorrow. Be the event planner and always leave room for change because shit might happen. That's living in your truth. And with that, I got to go because I have to prepare for a phone call at 9:30. But this was the best conversation in this new year. January, we're already on the 5th, right?
Yep.
My granddaughter turns 20 years old on the 7th. 20. I have a 20-year-old granddaughter. My bestie turns her birthday.
Not today.
No. On the 9th, am I correct?
No.
Oh, I'm wrong. She's not my bestie. I'm sorry.
It's coming up. It's next week.
There's so many.
Today's my nephew's birthday. It was my grandma's birthday. My sister's birthday was yesterday. My daughter's birthday was yesterday. So a lot of January babies.
Yes.
A lot of people having sex in April.
A lot of new beginning babies. So with that, thank you. Great show, Tiffany Bryan with the hearts. I love. Thanks, ladies. I love all of you who stay on longer. This is very important. This is inner growth. This is inviting you to inquire within. Make sure you mute people who you don't need their sound waves affecting your frequency. And make sure you put up the volume when Viva Cafe con Leche is on because we got you.
Yeah, that's true. Thank you for that plug. That was perfect. All right, everyone. We'll see you on Tuesday for another episode of Viva Cafe con Leche and our focus this month on awareness and for the quarter of knowing thyself. So have an absolutely fabulous weekend. Drink that coffee and enjoy it. Be
Aroused.
orgasmic with it. Yes. All right, everyone, take care. And from the Badass Buddha, remember, be you, be real, and be extraordinary.
And from the Gladiator Guru, mi gente, remember to breathe in the beauty and breathe out the bullshit. Namaste.